We're out here on the highway pulling over families in station wagons. Meanwhile, the Mexican mafia is taking over. The border's totally imploded. The government's caught shipping in narcotics with both hands. But there's just this about the public being bad. Because the system knows as they bring in all this evil, the public's going to start saying no. And so they want you to pull up at the checkpoint and get uppity with them. Because that's terrorism. You don't like us pulling you out of your car and putting you in a radiation baster? You don't like our hands in your pants? We're here at your house because an overflight show that you've got heat signatures. Well, you've got some cucumbers you're growing. $10,000 fine for us having to come out here without a warrant. You're like, but isn't what you're doing's wrong? Shut up. Give me your cell phone. I'm downloading the contents without a warrant. All over the country, cops pull you over now. Just grab your cell phone and just start downloading it. And then just injecting everyone with cancer, viruses, mass death everywhere, total disease, whole society falling apart, just degeneracy running rampant, giant wars they're gearing up for. Bain Capital that funds Obama and Mitt Romney is now one of the other heads of Bain Capital, one of the top deputies of Mitt Romney is now one of the top deputies of Obama. It's a total fixed scam. I've got all these clips of Mitt Romney worshiping abortion, and all these conservatives are dancing around saying it's of the Lord. Chop them up, chop them up. I mean, it's just so pathetic how sickening mainline Republicans are. Make me want to throw up. Yes, I'm ranting because I'm sick of it. I mean, look at this headline. Iran threatens to torpedo U.S. aircraft carriers. 3 U.S. warships stationed in waters in the Strait of Hormuz. A senior Iranian military commander has warned that Iran has the ability to sink U.S. aircraft carriers in the Persian Gulf using detection-evading submarines that can fire torpedoes. And it goes on with the rear admiral threatening. This is getting crazy. The Drudge Report linked to Bev Harris's article at blackboxvoting.org. Foreign company buys U.S. election results reporting firm. I know we reported that on Monday, but it's still important, and that's why Drudge is important, because this is reaching a lot more people than Infowars.com. So that's good news there. Continuing, Janet Napolitano gives top secret security clearance to Muslim Brotherhood. Of course, Muslim Brotherhood, Al-Qaeda, works for the banks that run America. The underwear bomber, Al-Qaeda, bin Laden, Ammar al-Awlaki, all of them. All of them, period, end of story. Since I mentioned this, I'll get to it, because it just shows Ron Paul's fighting back. And it's a good way to force the mainstream corporate whore media to tell the truth. Bloomberg Businessweek reports Ron Paul presidential campaign sues anti-Huntsman video makers, who later bragged that they did it to help Huntsman. The video was called China John, implying that Ron Paul doesn't like Asians. And then that's good. You know, when somebody creates something and attributes it to you, they need to get sued. So good job to Ron Paul. And the corporate dinosaur media needs to retract it as well. It's one thing if somebody makes a mistake. Everybody does that. But when it's malicious and on purpose, it's a serious issue. Now, I've got more on the SOPA bill and the big protest nationwide against the attempt to take over the internet. I want to take your calls. I've got the big TSA naked body scanner news coming to a street corner near you. And if you don't like being put in a microwave baster, they're going to have to crack you on the head. They're already doing it. We'll be right back. All right, we're into hour number 2. I've kind of cooled my jets a bit with ranting and covering news. I want to take your phone calls for the next 30 minutes and intersperse with important news before Dr. Russell Blaylock joins us to give us the latest on the scourge of fluoride in the water, viruses in the vaccines, and a lot more. He's going to be joining us. And then we're going to have open phones again in the third hour today. But I'd like to hear your breakdown of what you think of the attempts to censor the web, the attempts to launch all these new wars, naked body scanners coming to street corners near you with just crazy goons to violate your Fourth Amendment. This is about internal checkpoints for grabbing citizens on list and putting you in the back of paddy wagons. Once this total martial law comes in, if we're unable to turn this around, the most dangerous job is going to be one of these idiots running checkpoints. But the globalists don't care. They'll sit in their armored fortresses while you chicken necks go out there and face down the American people. I hope your servitude to evil's worth it. I hope you enjoy it, too. Really do. The toll-free number to join us today is 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231, and we will get you up and on the air today. The websites, again, are Infowars.com and Prisonplanet.com. I don't know how else I'm supposed to say it. You better use the free internet or lose it. You better use Infowars.com and Prisonplanet.com or lose it. You think the system likes the fact that Infowars.com dwarfs MSNBC.com and RushLimbaugh.com combined and Glenn Beck's websites? I mean, do you think the system likes that? You think they like it that the Drudge Report drives more traffic than the New York Times, Twitter, and Facebook combined? No. The system can't stand it. They can't stand the fact that we're the big media now. We're the big dog on the block. Move over, little dog, because the big dog's coming in. In fact, I want to come back from break if we can with Hank Williams, the original, Hank Williams the first, with the move over, little dog, fat dogs coming in. And, I mean, go ahead, stage nuclear attacks, launch war with Iran, launch cyber attacks on the internet. The truth of your criminality is already out there. You think because you start shutting the internet down that you're going to be able to get the people to acquiesce to your criminal takeover? You're exposed. You're done. And your program to fully implode the economy is what's going to fully hang your hind end politically. Because you've designed this implosion to get total control. Instead, you're imploding everything, but your takeover counted on imploding everything, but the public not knowing that the global megabank Ponzi scheme operators were behind it. But now you're imploding everything, but everybody knows it's you. That is the thinkers that aren't in total comas, the actual thinking, working, intelligent people. We've got the thinkers. You've got an army of zombies and control freaks. And you're bringing everything down, and those of us that said you were going to do it have the credibility because we had a long jump on you, because we didn't mind being laughed at. And now you're imploding everything, but you don't get to pose as the savior this time. Everybody knows you're the author of it on purpose. So good luck with that one. And the last thing I want is a shooting war in this country, but 3 million guns sold in December, 1.5+ million background checks, and that's just in the track guns. Average gun sale 2.1, that's 3.2 mil guns sold. 3.2 million guns sold in December, and they had surveys we covered a few weeks ago. Why are you buying guns? Number one, I don't trust the government. Number two, economic collapse, civil unrest. So people always say, call Congress and beg them for stuff. I just call them and let them know, we know you're criminals, we know you're scum, we know you're filth, we know you're terrorist. Okay, I mean, call them up. I mean, believe me, they're arming to the teeth because they know you're awake to them. Okay, we are now into hour number 2. A lot of stuff going on. An admiral in Iran has threatened to torpedo U.S. aircraft carriers, a giant escalation. The Russians have been making threats, the Chinese. All of this is going on. Janet Napolitano has given top security clearance to the Muslim Brotherhood, who basically works for the globalist. We've got those reports. Obviously, we have national protests going on right now by big internet outfits like WikiLeaks and Reddit. And our top stories at Infowars.com and Prisonplanet.com are all dealing with the internet kill switch censorship bills. They've got 3 different versions in Congress. They played possum earlier this week and said, okay, we'll change the bills, but that's only to try to stunt opposition. But they are starting to buckle to the pressure. Now, I want to hit a few other news articles before I go to your calls ahead of Dr. Russell Blaylock joining us with some key health news information. Retired brain surgeon, neurologist, breaking down the dangers of all these new vaccines they've got out, and this attempt all over the country to inject children in public schools without parental consent. It's now going on illegally nationwide. California actually passed a law to do it. But a law that is unconstitutional is still illegal as well, Marbury versus Madison. But we are certainly not in Kansas anymore. And it's going to get crazier from this point on out. And I want to break down later, after Dr. Blaylock leaves us in the next hour, the architecture of this New World Order from the internet angle. You see, government is threatened at one level by the internet because it's destroying their credibility. But the big hitters that were actually created by DARPA and CIA funding like Google, they're saying don't censor it. But not because they're against overt censorship, but because this is ham-fisted by Congress and will screw up the infrastructure itself. When Google, and the heads of Google obviously attend Bilderberg, understand, let the web grow some more where everything's dependent on it so they can track and trace everything and then start to put filters on it slowly to consolidate the power. Google just thinks they're trying to lower the drawbridge on freedom a little too early. And I'm going to be breaking that down coming up in the next hour. But I do want to go to Rob, Greg, Ed, Michelle, Nate, and others. But first, let me get to the TSA news that I have. If you go to Infowars.com, we have a plethora of articles that we've done breaking this down in the past that are linked to. In Kurt Nimmo's article, New York moves to deploy body scanners on the street in search for guns. And then it has links to the latest announcements. The point is, this has been going on a long time. It's a violation of your privacy. It's a violation of the 10th Amendment because the feds are involved. And it also exposes you to radiation risk. But here's the article. NYPD Commissioner Ryan Kelly told CBS News in New York his department is looking to deploy terahertz imaging detection scanners on the street in the war on illegal guns. Now, remember, whenever they say they're looking at it, that's like the head of the Office of Science, the White House Science Czar. His first speech 3.5 years ago was to say, hey, guess what? We've already been testing for decades terraforming or geoengineering the atmosphere with aluminum dioxide, barium salt, or chemtrails. Guess what? That's all real. But we're going to keep the details classified. But so far, it's been a test. And that's what they're saying. When you watch the CBS News piece that we're linked to in our Infowars.com article, they admit they've already got the systems up and are testing them. They're already in the city of New York with Homeland Security money. And, 4 years ago, Homeland Security bought these giant mobile 18-wheelers that they're now setting up on highway checkpoints. It's